One moment, a child was playing near a quiet, isolated homestead. Minutes later, he was gone, and the land offered no explanation. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you get first-hand updates on this story and others as they unfold. Gus Lamont disappeared during a very short window of time while playing outside his family's remote property. According to those present, there was nothing unusual at first. Gus was nearby, moving around the familiar grounds as he had done many times before. Then, suddenly, he was no longer in sight. There were no cries for help, no signs of panic, and no obvious direction he might have gone. In rural areas like this, open space can be misleading. What feels close can actually stretch for kilometers, and a child can move out of view faster than expected. That brief moment, when Gus went from present to missing, has remained the most troubling part of the case. Investigators later determined that whatever happened likely occurred quickly, leaving little time for anyone to react. At first, the family searched on their own. Believing Gus might be hiding or had wandered off, they spent several hours checking the property, calling his name, and looking through familiar areas. This response was driven by fear and hope, not suspicion. But as time passed with no sign of Gus, the situation became impossible to ignore. When police were finally notified, valuable time had already slipped away. The private search, while understandable, unintentionally disturbed the area. Footprints overlapped. Paths were walked repeatedly, and any fragile evidence that may have existed was likely altered. This would later make it harder for investigators to clearly reconstruct Gus's movements during those critical early moments. Once authorities became involved, the response escalated rapidly into one of South Australia's largest search operations. Police, emergency services, volunteers, search dogs, and aircraft were deployed across the region. Teams worked around the clock, sweeping vast sections of land and coordinating complex search patterns. The scale of the operation reflected both the seriousness of the case and the hope that Gus might still be found. However, the environment posed major challenges. The terrain was wide, rough, and exposed to changing weather. Wind, dust, and time quickly erased tracks and scents, making the search increasingly difficult with each passing hour. Despite the massive effort, investigators found almost no physical evidence. The most notable discovery was a single footprint, but it did not lead anywhere and could not explain what happened. No clothing, personal items, or clear trail were ever recovered. The lack of evidence was deeply unsettling, especially given the size and intensity of the search. It raised difficult questions about how a child could disappear so completely without leaving behind clear signs. Importantly, police found no confirmed evidence of foul play or accidental death. They examined many possibilities, including wandering, exposure to elements, or an unknown encounter, but none could be proven. This placed the case in a painful gray area, offering no clear answers to investigators or the family. As public attention grew, media scrutiny intensified. Tense interactions between the family and journalists became part of the story, fueling speculation and, at times, suspicion. Online, rumors and unverified theories spread rapidly, often overshadowing confirmed facts and complicating public understanding of the case. Throughout it all, police maintained careful and restrained public communication. They confirmed what they could, avoided speculation, and continued investigative work behind the scenes. The early private search, combined with a harsh environment and lack of evidence, limited what could be conclusively determined. Even so, authorities emphasized that the case was not abandoned and that all credible information continued to be reviewed. The disappearance of Gus Lamont remains a haunting reminder of how quickly a life can vanish and how difficult the search for truth becomes when time, terrain, and uncertainty collide. What endures is a need for facts over speculation, compassion over judgment, and continued attention in the hope that one day, answers may finally emerge.